Since the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade, prominent women have been speaking up, sharing their own personal stories about having abortions. Among them is Washington State Senator Mona Das of the 47th Legislative District. She shared her experience openly for the first time while at a rally for abortions rights outside the Supreme Court in D.C. over the weekend. Mona is joining us now. Welcome, Mona.
Thank you so much.
And
Hello.
Alongside you is Beth Dolio, a former state representative now running to return to the 22nd District in the state legislature. Beth, welcome as well.
Thank you very much.
All right. We have both of you here together for a significant reason to discuss the overturning of Roe v. Wade. But Mona, I want to start with this question. Why share your story now?
Because I had to. It was important. It was the moment. There have been many times that I have thought to share my story. The first was honestly a few days before Pramila shared hers, and then I was so proud that she shared hers, and then I went into retreat with mine. And then there was another time that I thought, okay, now's the time. And this time I happened to be in Washington, D.C. You know, we heard rumors that it was, happening. And so on Thursday we kind of knew, and Friday morning I was actually texting about something else with the state party chair, Tina Podolowski, and she texted me, and I'll never forget it. It just literally said, Roe fell. And I immediately got dressed, put my shoes on, and went straight to the Supreme Court. I had two other friends visiting, Megan Dunn, Snohomish County Council member, and another friend who's very politically active. And I texted both of them and I said, I'm going. And they met me. We all went, and we had to leave at different times, but they were all there. And I just knew it. And as I was getting ready to go down there, I was preparing mentally what I was going to say. I knew I would go straight to the front. I knew I would grab the bullhorn. I knew that I'm a senator. And I knew that I had to share my story. Like I came up with this hashtag, Faces of Abortion. Like it's always somebody else. It's always another person. It's always a friend, and it's always whatever. But very rarely is it a leader. Is it a woman of color? Is it a senator? And I knew that I had to share my story. And as I was getting there in the lift, I was preparing mentally what I was going to say. And I went straight up to the mic, the bullhorn, and I told them, I said, hey, I'm a state senator. I'm ready to share my story. And they immediately gave me the bullhorn. And I was tired of the shame, 27 years of carrying this secret. And obviously I'm a senator, I'm a leader, I'm a business owner, I'm a businesswoman, I do all of these things. I raise lots of money. I do all of these things. And I am your sister. I am your daughter. I am your niece. I am your not a mother. And I am not a mother. I'm proud to say I'm not a mother. I have nephews that I love and care for deeply. But I do what I do in the world so there can be a change in the systems that we know are broken. And I knew that day that I had to share my story. I needed to show the face of abortion of someone who is seemingly successful as a senator and a lawmaker and someone who's passed very large bills. I knew that it was my turn to share. And I want to I have privately already, but I want to publicly thank Representative Pramila Jayapal for not only inspiring me to run for office, but now also inspiring me to share my story. She shared hers. Representative Christine Reeves shared hers. Representative Beth Dolio shared hers. Then I shared mine. And I found out that at the governor's press conference, Representative Jessica Bateman and Representative Mi-Lin Tai also shared their stories. That's 6 women, 6 leaders in our state, 6 very different stories, and 6 faces of abortion. And before I pass the mic over, I want to say one thing. Where are the men? Why is it the women have to share our trauma? Why is it the women that have to carry around this burden? Where are the men? My boyfriend at the time benefited from my abortion as well. He did not have to. I was 22 years old. I think he was probably 26. He does not have to have a child so young. And we weren't ready. I mean, would we still be together? I don't know. Would I have been a great mother? Absolutely. But I made the choice. I made the choice for me in my life. I was 22 years old. I had just graduated from college. My entire life was ahead of me. And I will say this, I will say it out loud, and I will say it with conviction. If I had had a baby at 22 years old, I would not be a state senator now. I would also not be passing the laws I pass. I would also not be representing my community. I would also not bring representation to the state legislature. And I know that I would not be doing what I'm doing now. And I am no longer ashamed. I am very grateful that I had a safe abortion. And let's be clear, abortion is not going to stop. What's going to stop is safe abortion. I lived in New Hampshire at the time. I actually had to drive to Falmouth, Maine. We had to drive, we had to take the day off work. We were poor, it was $350. We couldn't even afford it. But we knew we couldn't also afford a child. If you can't afford an abortion, you can really not afford to have a child.
And Mona, you did mention 100%. How many people were there supporting you and encouraging you to share this story. I'd love to hear from you, Beth. I know you were one of those people that was encouraging Mona to speak up at this time. Why was it important for you to have her do that as well?
Yeah, I mean, the day after it leaked, two women in my community in Thurston County organized an event at the steps and asked me to speak. And I was going through my head, what can we do? This cannot happen to us. What can we do? And I shared advice that people needed to share their stories. And so that's why I'm here today. That's why I shared my story then. And that's why I'm so glad Senator Doss was able to share her story. I think we need to normalize it. It is a very normal thing to have this happen accidentally, and we need that choice. We need to have control over our own healthcare decisions and over our bodies. And the more people are able to talk about their experiences, I think it's also really important for older women who are pre-Roe. I had some folks. I had a woman contact me and say, thank you for sharing your story. Let me tell you mine when it wasn't legal, and hoops she had to go through, and all of the things to make sure that she had as safe a procedure as possible. That's what we're headed for here. No question about it. And those stories, young women haven't experienced that. And so I think it's really important for everyone to share their stories as much as they feel comfortable. Of course, you have to be comfortable to do that. And I just wanted to make sure that people felt as comfortable as possible by me sharing my own story and encouraging others to do that as well.
Now, Beth, Mona, both of you talking about this importance of sharing the stories. Mona, you mentioned the word shame, that being a lot of the time the reason people may not share something personal like that. Are there other overarching issues as well that need to come to the forefront in terms of access to health care, for women of color? Is there a disproportionate access issue there that is also tied to abortion rights?
I am so worried. That's one of the things I'm really worried about. One of the things I saw was that in Mississippi now, the closest place to get an abortion will be Illinois. And just having to go from New Hampshire to Maine, I just looked it up. Where I lived was 60 miles. So it wasn't like a huge burden, but we had a car, right? And I believe, I can't remember exactly, but I think we borrowed money from friends for the abortion. And, I am so afraid. And I will be donating and, encouraging others to donate to all the funds that are out there now to make sure women can travel, be a safe haven. And I want to encourage folks that are using the camping metaphor to stop using the camping metaphor. These women are not camping. They're getting a healthcare decision. They are making a choice for themselves, for their lives. And I will choose me every day. And I did. And I have no regrets. But the shame was there. And I will tell you, right after I left the Supreme Court, I texted my family because I knew this story would get picked up. Just because, the fact that I am a leader in my community and I am a senator, I texted my family members all together and I said, I'm sorry to, share it with you in this way. And my family, I'm 50 years old, right? And it was still very hard for me to send the text. And my family was incredibly supportive. And a few family members, and I know my mom had shared with me that she had an abortion, and I think a few others in my family might have had them too. And those stories we hide them, we don't share them. And what I want to do with speaking out, like Pramila did, Pramila speaking out, Congresswoman Jayapal speaking out, I think gave Representative Christine Reeves and Representative Dolio a little bit of cushion. And I know those 3 women that did gave me cushion, and it gave me the strength to do it. And, I think Beth Dolio is correct. Until we share these stories, that it is all of us, they say it's 1 in 4. I think it's 1 in 3 personally. And it's not a Democrat, it's just not Democrats. It's Democrats, it's Republicans, it's independent, it's women, right? And every story is different. And I had a woman also share with me that at age 50, she didn't think she could get pregnant, and she got pregnant. And so at age 50, she had an abortion. And that is a powerful story.
Beth, did you want to comment on that as well, on just, what you're trying to do going forward as an abortions rights supporter, with a plan to move forward to make sure people that are looking for access feel like they can find it, that they feel like they can find the resources?
Yeah, well, I mean, as Senator Doss shared, I mean, one of the single biggest predictors of women living in poverty is being a single mom. It's very challenging. Childcare costs are off the charts. And it is the single biggest predictor of a woman living in poverty for the rest of her life. So this is an issue that cuts across everything, right? And I am very nervous about what is to come for women who don't have this choice. I'm also really nervous. I mean, it's really wonderful that our states, Washington, Oregon, and California, have jointly agreed to be sanctuary for women who are choosing to have an abortion. But unfortunately, we do not have healthcare providers and abortion clinics that can support all of the predicted growth that we are going to have in that need here in our states. So one of the things that I am focusing in on is that we need to have more physicians licensed to provide this service. We need to figure that out, and we need to figure it out quickly. We need to challenge the religious institutions who provide a significant amount of care in our states. They don't allow for their residents to be trained to provide abortion. We need to change that. We need to change that now. And those residents who are seeking that, the training, who are undergoing residency right now, need to rise up and say, we are not taking this any longer. This is a matter of life and death for women in this country and those others who, there are also transgender people who are choosing to have babies as well. And we want to make sure that they are supported too.
All right, Beth Dolio, a candidate hoping to return to the 22nd District for the state legislature, and also with us, Washington State Senator Mona Doss. We thank you both for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.